Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? D546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so I didn't have anything specific planned today. But I woke up today, I got on Twitter, looked on Twitter, and I see some reports from Mike Florio from NBC Sports. And the reports are saying that Daniel Jones is looking for up to $45 million a year. I think that's nuts. I really do. I think it's nuts. Um, I made an apology video to Daniel Jones because he won a playoff game. You win a playoff game, I got to show you respect as a starting quarterback. I do think that going forward, he can be our guy. But is he so good that you can pay him $45 million and still be able to build a really good team around him? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure on that. I mean, you pull up his stats, and yes, he has not had the best supporting cast, but this is the supporting cast that you expect a guy that's making $45 million a year to be able to get things done with at a high level. So, year one, 3,027 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Year two, 2,900 yards. I think he missed like 3 or 4 games, or maybe 2 games. Um, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Uh, Year three, 2,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And I think he missed about maybe 6 games. Maybe he gets to 3,000 and 15 touchdowns. I don't know. Year four, his best year by far, 3,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Of course, not his best year from the touchdowns perspective, but he did run for 700 yards this past year, and he also scored 7 rushing touchdowns. So really decent season. I mean, about 3,900 yards and 22 touchdowns, but that's not that's not $45 million worth of a game. Some people might see the show $1 million worth of game. This isn't $45 million worth of game at all. I just can't justify it. I just can't justify it. You cannot pay a guy who has shown that he cannot put a subpar team on his back and single-handedly carry it, and then you're talking to Saquon and he's possibly going up to 14. You can't do this. That could be $60 million almost. $60 million. That's too much. That's too much. And if you do 45 million, that's gonna have to be over 5 years. That's gonna have to be over 5 years because you cannot do 45 million in 3 years because you're probably gonna have a couple of years where you're paying them. You're probably year one. You're gonna have to pay the dude pretty much our entire cap space, or maybe you do it year two, but the numbers just don't work in a 3 year deal, and it really doesn't work in a 5 year deal because is Daniel Jones good enough to where maybe we're not able to upgrade the offensive line the best, maybe we're not able to upgrade the receivers the best, maybe we can't go out and sign a vet interior offensive lineman this year or next year because we had to make sure that we paid Daniel Jones. Maybe we can't go and sign a defensive, a middle linebacker or a cornerback that helps the defense be able to get off the field. We are not going to be able to do a lot of these things because we're going to be paying a quarterback 45 million US dollars a year, and that's fine if that quarterback is able to say, "Listen, this is really just a dumpster fire around me, but I'm still going to get it done." Let's pull up what Patrick Mahomes did this year. And this is a guy, this Patrick Mahomes is a guy that makes 45 million a year. Let's see what he did this year with this roster. I listen, I want you all to see raw like how I'm looking at this, what my reaction is to 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 what's going on here. So let's look at it right here. The Chiefs wide receivers this year, before they got Kadarius Toney, of course. Chiefs wide receivers this year: Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore. You basically have Sky Moore and MVS. He ended up being a pretty good target, but is MVS really is he really miles and miles and miles ahead of anybody that Daniel Jones has ever played with? Juju Smith-Schuster, does he really move the needle? These are the kinds of moves that you have to make. You're gonna lose your number one receivers. You're gonna lose your right tackle. You're gonna lose your Pro Bowl guard. You're gonna lose Dexter Lawrence. You're gonna lose a lot of players like that if you decide to pay this dude $45 million a year, because the numbers just don't work. It just doesn't work. So I've been thinking, and anybody who's watched my stream, I've been entertaining other ideas as far as if this went the way that it looks like it's going. We have a couple of options. The first option will be the franchise tag, and the franchise tag is going to take up guaranteed at least $29 million of the cap this upcoming year. So no pushing money back, no rearranging money, no getting extra space to build the team. You're going to have to use all $29 million. I'm thinking they'll just do the non-exclusive $29 million. It makes no sense to do an exclusive because no one is going to give up 2 first-round picks and pay this guy $40 million, 45. I just don't see. And if someone does, gladly take the 2 first-round picks. Use those first-round picks to get the quarterback that you want. My quarterback this year, I'll get into it. But either way, I would highly recommend not using the franchise tag, because what are we doing here? Unless you honestly believe that Daniel Jones has a real shot of going out there and becoming a top 8 quarterback this year under a new system, under the same system in his second year, under a ton of great offensive weapons that we may be able to add or may not be able to add, who knows? Unless you think that this year he's going to take that step and become a top 8 quarterback, then that's the only reason that you do it, and then you revisit a long-term deal next year. That's the only thing that makes sense as far as a franchise tag goes. And it makes no sense to me, because you would think that Daniel Jones would recognize his value here and he wouldn't be trying to get paid 40. I mean, dude, get your money. But also think about this. If you go to another team, you're going to be in your fifth offensive coordinator spot. You're going to have a fifth different offensive coordinator in 5 years. It's going to be ridiculous. You're going to finally leave. You're going to leave an offense that you finally were able to get settled into, finally get comfortable in, and you're going to leave that offense for more money, and you might not be a good player at the next spot you go to. It's never guaranteed that you're going to be able to sustain success in a completely new offensive system. You could fall into another Jason Garrett situation and not be able to be the player that you think that you can be. So the second option, which is looking to me like it makes the most sense at this point, because I don't think the franchise tag makes any sense at this point. I think a 3 or 4 year deal with anything less than $35 million, I think that is the move. That's what you got to do. But if that doesn't work, I'm thinking this second option is let the dude walk. Or tag and trade him. Trade him for a 3rd round pick, trade him for a 4th round pick. Just try to get something for him. But do what you got to do right there, and look to the draft. Again, my guy is CJ Stroud. Now, of course, if we want CJ Stroud, I think we got to trade up for him. And I think if CJ Stroud, because all of a sudden Will Levis is getting all this love, Will Levis might go in the top 10. I don't think he's better than CJ Stroud. I think if CJ Stroud falls out of that top 10, you got to go up and get him. If you're in need of a quarterback, I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. That's my opinion from what I've seen on tape, the way he scans the field, how comfortable he is back there. He can do a little bit of improvisation. If he gets out of the top 10, you go up and you get CJ Stroud, And instead of paying a guy $45 million a year, you're paying him what, $8 million a year. I think that's very fair at that point. So I think you go up and get him. You could also play the long game and wait and hope that Anthony Richardson falls to you. If he falls to 18, you go from 25 to 18, go up and get that guy. A ton of people like Hendon Hooker. I haven't gotten to take a long look at him, but from what I've seen, I'm not really impressed. But again, I got to take another look at him. I wasn't even going to do that much work on quarterbacks this year because I was thinking we didn't need any. But there are a ton of options there. The other option is you go in the mid rounds, you take a quarterback in the mid rounds, and you just tag Daniel Jones. And if Daniel Jones isn't able to make something happen this year, you go ahead and just start that rookie quarterback next year. Another option, an option that I'll give credit to Authentic for really pushing. He's been pushing this option for a little while, is trading for a guy like Justin Fields. The Bears have the #1 pick. Everybody's telling them Bryce Young is generational. Bryce Young is this. Bryce Young is that. If they decide to take Bryce Young, they're going to give Justin Fields away to the highest bidder. And if the Giants are the highest bidder, Justin Fields makes a lot of sense in this system. He can do everything that Daniel Jones can do, running the ball, and I think he can turn into the thrower, or even better, that Daniel Jones is. He might have a bigger arm. Already throws a really nice deep ball. So we got a ton of options. All I'm saying, people, is do not panic. Do not panic, Joe Schoen. Do not panic and pay this dude $45 million. And fans, do not panic and think that the world is over if we don't pay this dude $45 million a year. Just because there are always other options. Football is a team game. Yes, you got to get the quarterback right, and I think that Daniel Jones can win as a Giant, but I don't think he can win making $45 million. I just don't see that. I don't think he can win making $45 million a year. And yeah, Joe Schoen, do not panic and pay this dude. Evaluate every single option before you make a decision like this. I just think that what makes the most sense is trying to get a deal that works for both sides done, which of course, they're going to try to do. And if that deal does not work for you, if he goes over your walkaway number, for me it's 38, let the dude walk away and just continue to build this team the right way and go out and get your quarterback. And even if we let a guy, even if Daniel Jones takes some crazy step and we ended up being wrong, just think about it. If we didn't have a quarterback, we didn't have anybody that we even thought could be a quarterback here when Joe Schoen got here, he would have to go get a guy anyway. So do what makes you feel the most comfortable, Joe Schoen, which I'm sure he's going to do. And if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. So that's my thought on this Daniel Jones thing. I don't think $45 million should be on the table at all. You guys let me know what you're thinking about this. Am I overreacting? Some people are going to say we need to give him $50 million. He's better than Mahomes. But let me know what you all think. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.